Hey, what's happening? This is your host Tinto, and before we get into this weekend's episode, I'd like to give a shout out to everybody that got me coffees, starting with you, Leslie. Oof, what an incredible, generous gift. Thank you so much. And your comment reads, "You're doing the Lord's work, Tinto. We are out here learning lessons while being entertained. My work commutes would be so dead without you, and these people are brave enough to share their stories." Oh yeah, couldn't be said better, Leslie. Thank you so much. And then we got Pepsi_pork. Hey, man, so many coffees. I don't know what to say. Thank you. And your comment reads, "It's criminal not to give you your flowers." Thank you so much. Yeah, it gave them to me before I die in it. Thanks, Pepsi. And then another generous gift from Tendai Jennifer. Thank you so much. Your comment there reads, "Sending these coffees with the hope that you will drop part 3 soonest." Well, yes, part 3 today. And then Ibodo. Hey, geez, man, this week has been incredible. Thank you so much for such a generous gift. And your comment there reads, "Hey, Wooshem." Yeah, I can't help myself. That's one of my favorite sayings, Wooshem. And then last but not least, the one and only Tichitire Bogus, fan and supporter number 1 extraordinaire. With another gift, and your comment is, "My number 1 podcast." Thank you so much. If you'd like to support the podcast and do the same, please head over to www.buymeacoffee.com/feeling station and give as your spirit leads. Remember, there's nothing that is too small to support the podcast that you've grown to love. With that out of the way, let's get straight into this weekend's episode. And if you haven't listened to parts 1 and part 2, I strongly recommend that you go back to those episodes. That's episode 96 and 97. And then you would get into the loop with what's happening in episode 98. Right, let's do this. The episode you're about to listen to contains graphic descriptions of physical abuse that you may find disturbing. If discussions of this nature are likely to trigger you, I strongly recommend that you do not listen to this episode or the series in full.
All up in my feelings, I'm all up in my feelings, yeah.
So we're back, part 3 of this. I never imagined we would go this far, but it's important. And I'm going to take it back just for a little backstory for those who need to be reminded. You've had an incident. You've gone through Jack's phone. You've seen us talking to a woman who's saying, "I love you." And, you decide, nah, this is not for me. You're on placement. Placement guy starts talking to you. He's obviously interested. There's a bit of chemistry there. And then Jack, becomes aware of this, is doing the jealous boyfriend type thing. He's come to your workplace and the two guys have had eye contact. And maybe if we pick it up from there, we would get back into the story. And just so that you had nowhere to go. Right, so take it off.
Yeah, so obviously my friends offered me somewhere to go.
Mm-hmm.
So I went to my friend's house that evening. I went to my friend's house. He was calling me, and also my aunt was calling me, of which I was like, okay, just to settle things down a little bit, I got my friend to talk to my aunt just to confirm with her that she was the one with me, and she gave her aunt her number as well if she needed anything.
Mm-hmm.
So I went to place, got a few things from the shops just to go with, because I wasn't going to go home at all.
Of course, yeah.
That happened, and then the next day, placement again. Went to placement, and I saw he came. He was waiting outside.
Jack was waiting outside.
Yes.
First thing in the morning.
Yes. And I just pretended like I didn't see him. I just went straight in and just left it at that. And when I finished placement, he was waiting for me. He was like, "You're going home with me."
So did he spend the whole day outside?
I don't think he spent the whole day outside, but he knew what time I started, and obviously he knew what time I finished, because before, when I started the placement, he was picking me up and dropping me off and everything.
Yeah.
Well, sometimes he'd pick me up. So he knew my timetable quite well, and so that happened, and went back home, talked about what had happened. And I was like, you know what? I'm still in the same headspace that I was at before. And I don't think that me and you, we can make it work. This is now the second time you've done this. You say to me before, you promised me that this was not going to happen again, but you've done it again.
I have to ask you the question. He's promised you it wasn't going to happen. It has happened. Then he comes to your workplace and says, we're going home together. And you trust him to go back with him?
It's not that I trusted him to go back home with him, but I didn't want to make a scene at my workplace where I was doing my placement there. I didn't want to cause a scene because...
But I would have thought that being in your workplace and being in a public place is actually safe because he wouldn't do anything to you because there's eyes watching and you could get help.
Yes.
But then you're choosing to go to a quiet, private place where there are no eyes and he could do some, he could do some harm to you.
At that moment, you don't think about all that at that time. You really don't. Because you obviously thinking, oh my goodness, like, I have to come back and work here. And I don't want people to think like, oh, she's just full of drama and like, you know how people can be very stereotypical and be like, oh, these people are just loud and, those kind of things. I didn't want that. So obviously I was trying to portray something that like everything was all jolly good when it's really not. And as much as, when you're in the situation, you don't see things the way that other people see things.
Mm-hmm.
You are more on protecting your picture and your image and his image as well. And I'm sure if you talk to anyone who's been through this, they can tell you like the image that you portray matters a lot. It affects you. Because obviously you've been in this relationship that is abusive. And obviously if there's physical abuse, there's also emotional abuse. So for you, it's like you feel then like you need to protect that person and protect yourself as well. And for you to protect yourself, you have to protect them. You get what I'm saying?
Wow, yeah, I get it.
Yeah.
Totally get it.
So, we're still living under the same roof. I'm doing my business, my thing, and he's doing whatever he's doing. And, just minding my business.
So at that point, you decided to leave your friend's house to go back home?
I went back to my house because I was like, that's my house. It's in my name.
Yeah.
And I'm the one who's paying the bills.
What did your friend have to say about you going back?
She wasn't too happy about it, but obviously she was like, I understand because that's your house. And if you're not there, he's not going to move. But if he sees that you're actually serious and you don't want this anymore, he will leave. And I tried that out until I came to a point where I was like, you know what? I think the best way for me to do that is for me to show him that I've moved on from it.
How are we intending on doing that?
This is the hardest part for me to say right now because, like, I feel like it was so wrong for me to do that because my relationship was not officially over, if you know what I mean, because we were still under the same roof. So for me, when I look back at it, and I feel like I could have done things a little bit differently when it comes to that.
Okay.
I thought, let me go and have a rebound. Like you see about these things in the movies and, you read about them and you're like, maybe it would work for me because I'll get over him and I'll be like, I'll be able to get that courage to tell him, leave my house. Like, we're done. So I finally took up placement guy's offer to go to his house. And I went to his house.
To go to his house to visit or to stay?
I went to sleep over at his house.
Okay.
We went out and then we went to his house after. This was after placement, so like I went to placement as normal.
Yeah.
Like he thought I was going to placement, but I just packed a few things in the bag, and I went to his house where we went out for dinner, and then went to his house after. And guess who was checking my location?
Oh, snap.
I had literally forgotten about it. Like,
Yeah.
like that was even on. But then when I was there, I switched off my phone anyway. Because he kept calling me, where are you? What time are you coming home? Da da da. And then he even called my aunt and told her, oh, she's not come home. And I said to my aunt, yes, I've not gone home. I'm not going home. Like, why should I go back there? Like, there's nothing left for me with him. Like, there's nothing going on there. Like, why should I be going and being with someone who's treating me like crap, basically? And she was like, oh, but you guys, you know, maka rorana and whatnot. You have this married.
Yeah, you guys are traditionally married.
You're embarrassing the family, da 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 da. And I was like, so you're saying I should put up with it because I can't be samari?
I was just about to ask the question. So your aunt knows that this guy's been
Zim.
She's in Zim, and she knows that he's been physically abusive. So as far as she's concerned, it's okay for you to take the physical abuse because we will get embarrassed if you leave. Lord have mercy.
Yeah. And, you know, we didn't sleep together or anything. We didn't sleep together.
Why not?
Believe me, I was tempted, but I don't know what happened, but, you know, God was hearing we just had to get involved and maybe make things a little bit easier because I even started my period. So
you didn't have sex because your period came.
Yeah, basically.
Talk about God coming through, huh?
Trust me, because it would have made situations even more tense.
So were you disappointed that the period came?
I was, at that moment in time, I was like, so how exactly is this a rebound then if I don't get to do that? Like, you know, like, yeah, because you know, like, the way that females see it, the rebound, it's someone to show you something better than what you have.
Yeah.
And obviously with everything else, he was ticking all the right boxes. But even from word go, even before like I had agreed to go to his house, I told him, like, I don't want nothing. I just want to have fun.
So did you know that your period was coming?
I didn't know. It was even early, like...
my girl got so excited. Auntie Flo came pronto, quick time, blood. Auntie Flo was like, nah.
No,
this
you ain't
too
about
much.
to do that.
Okay.
No.
Okay. So nothing happened.
Yeah, nothing happened that time. And I was like, nah. I need to make sure that these things happen because I need to get over this guy as soon as possible.
Why did you need someone else to help you get over someone? Why?
Because
why couldn't it be just a case of, you know, this is not working, I have to go?
I couldn't find it within me. Like, I think maybe in a way I was also looking for a reason for him to leave me as well, to walk away.
You had all the reason. Oh, a reason for him to walk away from you.
Yes.
Okay. So
for him to stop trying so hard.
So in your head, you were doing this rebound thing and you were not even really going to try and hide it. So that he catches you, gets pissed off and said, hey, I want nothing to do with you. And you guys are done.
Yes.
Okay.
That it didn't happen. So obviously disappointed, went home and my friend was like, did anything happen? I was like, no. And she was like, well, you know, you need to get back in there and try again. And after my period, I was like, okay, we met up for drinks. I
feel like you skipped something.
What?
Because Jack was busting your phone, calling you so much.
He didn't say nothing about it.
Really?
He didn't say nothing about it.
That is creepy.
He did not say nothing about it, which was even creepy for me.
That is creepy.
Which was even creepy for me. He was just like, yeah. And this time, when I went back, so when I went back home after that night at Paceman Guy's house, I went straight to the hospital because I had an appointment. Because obviously after the procedure that I had, I just needed to have a follow-up just to make sure everything was good.
It's checking out, yeah.
Yeah. So he picked me up from there because he knew I had the appointment. And he picked me up from the hospital. He met me at the hospital and he didn't say nothing, funny enough. And I was like, okay, cool. So I carried on, went to placement, finished my placement now. And I'm now back at uni.
Did you not say anything because he saw that you were on your period? So he assumed wherever she was, nothing happened.
He didn't see that I was on my period. I don't know if he knew I was on my period, then I don't know. Maybe he was praying for my period to come on. Who knows? Remember, this is a man with God's calling.
Wow.
Yeah?
Yeah. Okay.
Yes, so, yeah. Went back to, finished placement, went back to uni, still stayed in contact with the placement guy. And then about a week later, we met out for drinks after uni, and I went back to his. And one thing led to another, and his friend was there as well, just drinking and doing other things. There's smoking.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Yes. Not.
I had to give you that look because I was like, okay, yeah, but what does that mean? Okay, so they were having alcohol and they were having...
Yeah, smoking,
okay.
and yeah, and it was kind of, the tensions were very high because now, like, you can feel the tension, physical attraction, the physical tension between the two of us. It was only a matter of time, and things happened, and the location again.
The location thing is still on.
Yes. This time around, I didn't switch my phone off. So then his sister starts calling me. And she's like, "Where are you?" And I'm like, "I'm out. What's it to you?"
Yeah.
And she's like, "Oh, Jack is waiting for you at home. He's been trying to call you and da 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 da." And then I was like, "Listen, I don't give a crap about Jack. Like, you know what? I'm just leave me alone. You don't know what he's been doing." And then I hung up. And then she sends me my location.
Okay.
So he sent her the location, and, you know, so it's more like using his sister to now confront me. And I was like, "So your point being," and I was like, "I'm at my friend's house." And just left it at that. And because obviously I didn't want to cause a scene because I just felt like, you know what, he was going to end up driving there or something like that and then cause more problems. So I was like, you know what, got up, it's like around 7, 8 in the morning. So I just got up and I was like, you know what, I'm going to go.
Did you even manage to sleep knowing that this guy is tracking you like this?
I didn't know he was tracking me. I saw it like around 6 in the morning.
So you saw the picture around 6 in the morning?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Right. Okay.
So obviously I just got myself out and went back home. And then when I went back home, that's when he asked me about it. And he's like, "This is the second time you've gone there now. I've seen," and then he was showing me all these screenshots of when he was like, you know, checking my location. And I was like, well, you know, said what it was, and I was like, yeah, so that's what happened. And you know, and I honestly, it went better in my head. Like in my head it went better, but what happened physically and at that moment in time, I did not think that would happen.
Is it okay for me to ask what happened?
He started shouting abusive words and all these things, and then he was like, "You need to tell me exactly what happened, word for word." And I'm like, "What do you mean I need to tell you word for word what happened? Like, we had sex, and, you know, what else do you need to know about that?" And he was like, "Yeah, but I need to know exactly what. What were you wearing? What positions did you do? Is it bigger than me?"
Oh my God.
Like, literally, exactly. That's why I was like, I just didn't think that, you know, I was like, "What does it matter?" And he was like, "Yes, it matters." And he was like, "I bet he's bigger than me." And I was like, "Yeah."
Oh, for fuck's sake. Now, why are you going to do that to an irate man?
Because I wanted to bust his ego, just like how he believe the way he made me feel, I wanted him to feel that way as well. Because with him, like, like what he would always say to me, this is also like kind of going back, but something that he always used to say to me, like, as well, like, oh, you know what? You're not usually, the type that I usually go for.
Yeah.
I usually go for girls with like hips and big ass and things like that. And, and I'm like, okay, so why are you with me then?
Okay, so this was revenge, per se, to say, oh yeah, it's gonna hit hard if I say that he had a bigger willy than yours.
Yes.
What was his reaction to that?
Obviously, he didn't go down very well. It did not go down very well at all. And he stormed out and left. And I was like, yeah, my job is done,
I'm surprised at his reaction. Given.
I think so.
Oh, there's more coming. Lord have mercy. Okay.
He went out. I don't know where he went or what he went to do. I don't know. He came back and he was like, so now you want to embarrass me. And round 2. Or should I say round 3? Because obviously, And this time, I can't say, as much as I know this sounds so bad, but it wasn't as bad as it was last time. But...
Or maybe you're getting used to it.
It's not that I was getting used to it.
If you pinch a kid once, first time ever, they're going to scream their head off. Do it a couple of times. We, as kids, we get to the point where like, yeah, that wasn't as bad.
Yeah.
Because our tolerance for pain has gone up a notch.
I guess if you can put it that way, yeah.
So are you sure it wasn't as bad, or your tolerance for that pain had gone up a notch?
No, it wasn't as bad. Because it got worse as the story progresses. So it wasn't as bad, and and at that time I was like, you know what? I did kind of push it. I deserved that. That's when emotionally I started fighting with myself.
Yeah.
Because I was like thinking to myself, why did I do that? What was I thinking? And I was like trying to find every reason to just put myself down about it, and trying to find every reason to just also make myself feel better about it. But I was battling with myself. He then said to me, like, you know what, we can make it work, but things have to change. You have to be checking in with me.
Yikes.
And then also, he's now looking into my past, talking about my past as well. Things that I said, obviously, for confidential reasons, I cannot mention.
Yeah.
He's now involving my past into it and saying all these personal things. And I'm now like at a point like, you know what? I can't. He's doing so much for me. He's been there, like, I'm like, he is willing to forgive me even though I've done this. How can I leave him?
Yikes. Yeah.
And that's when I lost myself.
Yeah.
In love.
Or fear.
And fear. Both. And I thought at that time, it was love. I thought that was love. Like, And then also it's that thing where, because I have quite traditional values as well, that's why I let so many things happen, because, our grandparents went through so much and, they stayed. But then the difference is, what we don't understand is that even though, like, most of the times we didn't see some of these things, we only then saw them, like, you only see them as you get older, that, oh, this is what was happening.
Mm-hmm.
But at that time, all you see is this loving couple and your granddad is doing the most, like, But as you get older, that's when you see, like, these things like, oh, shouting and all that stuff. But then because you've seen the loving part, you think that, like, you know what? It's part of it.
Right.
So it's okay. So it's all right for them to have those, like, it's normal. People like married people go through that.
So when you see this happening with you, you're like, no, this is normal because I've seen it in the past and I can relate.
And I'm like, it's things that can pass because obviously, but then obviously it's not. It's really not. And it took me a while to get to actually come to realize that. It took me quite a long time. And yeah. So fast forward, so all this drama happened in June, around May, just before my birthday. And then for my birthday, he went all out, He went all out for my birthday. And I was like, that kind of, made me feel like, oh yeah, he loves me. Like, yeah. He made me feel good about myself. But it was only for that time. And fast forward to August. August now, he's talking to someone else. And I'm like, okay. I find out that he's talking to someone else. And
how did you find this out?
Basically, he went to, how should I put it? He was on online dating. He joined online dating, an online dating app, using my brother's name.
Mad thing.
And he met someone on there. And I later on found out that, but he had joined the dating app the year before. But I found out about it in that August, the year after. And I found out because I saw messages.
And the year before, he had been using your brother's name still.
Yes.
Madness.
So I saw messages and from this girl, and she had now gone back to her country. She was not from around here. She was actually from a different country. And she was here studying. So she'd gone back to her country and they're messaging and he's telling her that, oh, I want to marry you so you can come here, like, and we can have a future together. And
this guy uses marriage as a weapon not a weapon, as a trap to lure in women.
Yeah.
Because he's once upon a time told you he's not really into the marriage thing, but then when things are shaky, he started talking marriage. And we know he had done the same with the first relationship, that, he got that warning from the police. You spoke about marriage then.
Yeah.
I'm just making this comment because there's a couple of episodes where marriage being the focus of something has been so big for women that they overlook a lot of stuff that is going horribly wrong.
Yeah, and since we're also the thing, like what people also don't seem to understand is like a lot of men, they actually, and I think it's something that people need to actually speak about more. A lot of men look at single mothers and they're like, they feel like they're desperate, like, of which we tend to actually feel like, you know what, because I've had a child, because of how the society looks at us, it's like you've had a child out of wedlock and you've now got a child without a man, and no one else is going to want you. So that they make you feel like that. And these are issues that are not quite raised enough in the society that we live in nowadays. And for you to then have someone say that to you, it will make you ignore a lot of things.
Yeah.
So that's one part that did play as well into me wanting that so much. Because I was like, I've like, someone actually wants to marry me.
Yeah.
Like, I didn't think that would happen. I didn't see that in the car, in my future or anything. Yes, there was guys who would be there like wanting to date me, but
they weren't really talking marriage. No. So when this guy's talking marriage, it's
so
it's
Like,
attractive.
Exactly. So let's go back to I find these messages from this girl, and then this girl was commenting now on his Instagram page, and she saw me. I commented as well on the Instagram picture, And she messaged me and she's like, why are you commenting and liking all the pictures
What
of my boyfriend?
What comment did you give and that was so heavy she had to contact you?
I just commented saying hubby with a heart, and then, that's it. And then the other one I said, oh, that's my man. And
right. Okay. Yeah.
So obviously she messaged me and she was like, why are you saying all these things on my boyfriend's pages and whatever?
Mm.
And I'm like, your boyfriend? You mean my husband? And she's like, no. Me and him were planning. He's actually saying that he wants to marry me and I'm going to move there. She sent me the screenshots of their conversations.
Mad.
And I was like, okay, is this because of what I did or what? Why is he doing that? So I was like, okay, cool.
So the whole while you still believe you deserve this because of the rebound thing you did.
And I was like, okay, I didn't believe her. And then she was like, okay, when he's there with you, I'm gonna call you. Just send me like anything at all. Just to show me
give me a sign.
Give me any sign. Just to show me that he's there. So I did that and she called me all guns blazing. Like, obviously, like, something that just to make it look real. And then I put it on the loudspeaker and he's there. He's in the bath now. So there's no way that he can like walk out.
Very clever move.
Yeah, so there's no way that he can leave. So this guy's like, and he doesn't say a word. He doesn't respond. He's like, and then she was like, you have a wife? And then, he's quiet. And I was like, well, you're going to answer? And he was like, yeah. Did it go? And then he was like, but, I'll explain to you later. And I'm like, what do you have to explain?
Instead of explaining to you, his wife, that this is what's been happening. So already I was like, there's an imbalance there. His focus is completely off.
Yeah. So I was like to him, the girl then was like, you're a joke and hang up. And he is now coming out of the bath, And he's like, what was that about? And I'm like, what was that about? Like, why is this girl calling me and telling, like, shouting at me? And he's like, oh, I don't know. Like, what was that? Like, and I'm like, no, I'm asking you, what was that? And he's like, oh, how did she find you? Whatever. Or what have you been up to? Trying to turn it back on me. And he's like, oh, so I just wanted to feel like a man again since you've made me feel like, I ain't shit after what you did. And he's like, I just wanted to feel like a man again. I wanted to feel loved. I was trying to boost up my confidence, since like you said, I'm not good enough for you. You've had something better that's out there. And, I just wanted to make myself feel better. And I was like, but you said that you forgave me and you wanted to move past it. So why exactly are you doing this then? And he was like, I don't know, but, I just wanted to make myself feel better. But, we told, so he was like, okay, I'll stop and I'll, work on us. And fast forward now, November, he's been acting funny. Like, and
so
all of October.
So we're in November, and if I remember, your wedding was scheduled for September.
Yeah, that didn't happen. It happened the next year.
But why didn't it happen?
There was some problems with family and finances and things like that.
Okay, yeah.
So fast forward November, I remember the day. On the 4th of November, I had a doctor's appointment at the GP. He went and got his son that weekend. And as I was getting ready to go to my appointment, he was like, I'm going out, I'll be back later. And I was like, but you can't leave me with all the kids when I've got an appointment at the doctor's. How's that going to work? And he was like, oh, I'm sure you can take him with you, that I can't take them where I'm going. And before I could even say anything, he was out.
Yeah.
And I went to the doctors, and his son was some work.
A handful, yeah.
A handful. And I went to the GP with the kids, which was like, so I couldn't even like be comfortable because I'm like, because his son used to go and tell his mom things and whatever.
How old was the son at the time?
3, but he was quite a switched on little boy.
3-year-old, yeah.
So he would repeat things. And I went with him, and I'm now calling him like, okay, where you at? What's going on? Because it was getting dark in it. And I was like thinking maybe he could pick us up from there so we can go home. And nope, no calls. And then next thing I know, his phone is literally switched off. Tinto, he went out on a date, left me with his son, and he went out on a date.
Wow.
How I found out, I was like, you know what, I'm going to do some, I'm like, I got my investigator uniform again, I went on his Facebook and I'm looking at what has he been liking a lot. So what I did, I figured out his password for his Facebook.
How did you figure out his password?
It was very easy.
Wow.
It was 1 or 2. He used 3 passwords in everything that he did. So it was very easy to get the passwords. So I hacked into his Instagram and I hacked into his Facebook. So then I logged on to my iPad and I was seeing a lot. I saw a lot. But the one that was there was this one girl who was right at the top. And that's the one that he had gone on a date with. So I was like, okay. And then I went on Instagram and I saw this girl had posted. And she posted while she was out at this fancy place. She was obviously on a date. And later on in the evening, he's not replying my calls, he's not replying my messages, he's not returning my calls, nothing. And I'm like, your son is asking him, his son was asking about him as well.
Yeah.
And I'm like, what's going on? And around 11 midnight time, the girl posts a bunch of flowers. And she's like, he's just the sweetest. And me, I'm like, you idiot. That summer as well, just to rewind back a bit, right? That summer, I was like, you know what? Like, after the whole thing with miscarriage and everything, I was like, I want a baby. It made it like, because I felt like I couldn't have more kids because my aunt had problems with to conceive again.
Conceiving, yeah.
After she had her daughter, because there was a bit of a gap. So for her to conceive again, she had a bit of trouble. So she had miscarriages and she had a stillbirth as well. So
because that has now happened to you, you're thinking...
So I'm like, could this happen again?
Right.
So I'm like, while I'm still young, let me try again. Because maybe with her, it was the age factor as well. So I was like, I want a baby. Let's get a bigger car. Let's get something a bit more child-friendly.
And all of this in your mind is with Jack.
And he was like, so we got a new car. Obviously, at that time, I was paying all the bills. From the moment I started uni and he started uni as well, not long after me. So I was paying all the bills because he wasn't getting much from uni.
So the car was in your name?
The car wasn't in my name, it was in his name. But I was
bought with your money?
I was paying, it was on finance.
How does that work? Saying, how does that work? That you're taking out a car on finance, but he's the one driving it. Why didn't he take out a car in his name?
He took out in his name. It was in his name. But I was the one paying.
Yeah, so I guess my question is, why wasn't he the one paying for it?
He wasn't making enough. He wasn't getting enough money. And he wasn't working.
And neither were you.
I was getting bursary and student finance.
But that is still not your money. So you wouldn't have had money. because it's borrowed money. It's going to need to go back to someone.
No. This nursing bursary does not.
Okay. But the bursary is for education, not for cars.
Yes. It's for your upkeep and everything. And
So you are taken away from your upkeep to support someone who should be really looking after you and your family. So he's giving you all the vibes that I'm not going to do this. So why were you doing it?
I was thinking it's for the future. It's for our future. It's for our family. Like, he might not be able to provide right now, but after he will be.
What gave you that confidence?
I think because when he was working, he was doing all that stuff. He was providing, and he was, even though he didn't make a lot, he was still trying his best with the little that he had. So because of that, obviously, so okay, he's gone on this day, and in my head I was like, and I've seen all these things, and like, I'm like, you know what? I'm actually an idiot. So I was like, you know what? When he came back, I asked him about it, and he was like, oh, I was just out with a friend, nothing else. So I was like, okay, cool. Because I was like, how am I going to explain that I've got,
You see, it's funny because oh my God, this is so hilarious. I put up a meme last night. I don't know if you look. Yes.
I don't think I saw that.
Well, I put it on my personal one, and I don't think we follow each other on the personal one. We follow each other on the podcast.
Yeah.
Right? And what that meme says, it's got a picture of somebody who's got this excited face about information that they know.
Yeah.
And right next to it, there's a really sad, disappointed face because they can't tell how they know the truth.
Yeah.
So it's got the face you make when you know somebody's lying and you know the truth, but you can't tell them what the truth is. So I'm gonna send you that.
I think I've seen it.
Yeah. So I'm gonna send you that picture. It's so relatable to what you're saying because you knew the damn truth, but just couldn't say how you knew that truth.
I didn't know how to.
Mad thing. Mad. In fact, hold on a sec. I'm gonna look for that. Hopefully I can find it quick enough.
But yeah, so it was crazy.
Oh man, it's gone. Oh yeah, there we go. I found it. Have a look. You're gonna have to go back and hold it so that you see it.
Oh wow,
that was you, right? That was you, right?
It's so me because I was there, like
that was you.
Like,
yeah. Like, yep, I know you like, but I can't say shit. Okay, right?
So obviously I can't say nothing. So I'm like, I bring up. I was like, how can you do that? I've got doctor's appointment, and you leave me with the kids by myself, and like it's cold outside. It's winter time, and I have to walk with the kids. It's like that's not nice. Like why would you do that? And then you don't pick up your phone. Trying to start something.
Yeah, you should build a case.
Just build something. And he was like, oh, I'm sorry, I got carried away with time, and where I was, there was no service or network. And I'm like, huh? There was no service or network, but your girlfriend was busy posting. And I was like, it's cool, it's calm. I'll catch you. The following weekend, he was like, oh, I'm going out. And I'm like, you're going out where? Okay, we're going together. Took my daughter to my mom's house. I was like, we're going, let's go. And he was like, oh, you know what, I'm just going to go shopping instead.
Man like Jack. Okay, well, yeah, so let's go shopping.
So we went shopping. And I was like, yeah, with what money?
Wow.
And he took out his credit card, and I was like, okay, let's do some shopping then. I paid. I shopped.
Yeah.
I shopped like someone who's angry. I shopped, and
Did he try to stop you?
No,
he
didn't. Because I think he kind of knew because like what he had done last week had really pissed me off. And
the guilt, yeah,
and obviously knowing what he was doing. And then during the week, he was like, "Oh, I'm going to uni, but I'm not coming back. I've got to study."
Well, you can study at home, fam.
And I'm like, when have you ever gone to study at uni? And that's when I realized, like, you know what? This guy thinks he's clever. So I was like, okay, cool. So I left him. And the next thing I know...
Why did you leave him knowing that he was lying, though?
I left it because I
Why?
wanted to.
You wanted to get the proof
Yes.
to say I wasn't wrong about what I was thinking.
Yes. So
To what end? What were you trying to achieve?
I wanted to achieve. I just wanted to know the truth and for him to be honest and just if it's a thing where he's still holding on to what happened.
But you know he's going to be dishonest.
Yeah.
You know your guy. You know he's not going to be truthful. So what are you looking for exactly?
I was looking for a way out.
This is your second time looking for a way out.
Yes.
So how confident were you that this would give you the way out?
Because what I'd now said was like, you know, I'm gonna try a different route and get people involved.
So I'll ask you the question again. What was stopping you from being the one to say, nah, I'm not feeling this? You know, give yourself your own excuse instead of depending on someone to give you an excuse.
Because I didn't want to be a letdown to my family. Because if I was to say that, I was going to bring embarrassment to the family. Whereas if he was like, I'm not in love with you anymore, or I'm not, it wouldn't bring any shame to my family.
Why, when you've just been rejected by a man? And we all know that culturally, rejection is a big no-no.
With that, it was more like he's wants someone else. So either
Which
way,
is even more embarrassing.
More embarrassing.
Our daughter is not good enough for this man, so he let her go. Ooh, ouch, that's painful for the family.
It is, but in a way, I don't know how to explain it, but in a way, it seemed like it was a better option rather than me being the one to say, like, oh, it's over. Because also the thing of like, you know, when he's paid money to your family, so you can't. And also there was also a thing where at one point he was like, you need to give me back the money.
So you felt indebted.
Mm-hmm. So,
which would tie in with you feeling the victim because you've done something bad, so you deserve to be treated like shit, pretty much.
Yeah.
Excuse my French. And also felt you deserved to be rejected so that you don't have to face the embarrassment of paying back, in quotes.
Yeah.
The lobola and all of that stuff.
Yeah.
I get what you mean now when you said that you really had close to no self-esteem. Because your self-worth value right now, from what you're saying to me, feels like it's between 0 and none.
Yeah.
To the point where you didn't even have a voice to really say what you wanted.
Yeah. As much as I wanted it, but I just didn't know how to get it.
At this point, looking back, did you know you were deep in the doldrums of abuse? Did you know you were the classic definition of a victim?
I didn't know.
No?
I didn't know. At that time, I didn't know at all. And I didn't even think that it was abuse. Like, I thought like, you know what, there's the physical aspect of it. But at the time, I was like, but women in Africa, they go through this all the time. And, you know, they stay, you know, I have to be a proper African woman and, you know, stay and be in my marriage and make my marriage work.
And the reason why I'm raising this and kind of just putting a pause on the story itself is I know how real this is for people within our community. To be in situations that they don't realize that this is abusive. And I just want to take a second just to kind of encourage anyone who's seeing the same things that we're seeing in your story. That if you have a similar pattern happening right now, please, please, please pay a whole lot more attention than you are. Because you may not have the strength to recognize or do something about it. But if you're listening and you're recognizing this, please, please, please do something about it.
Yeah.
And I know this is not yet the end of the episode, but just whilst I'm still on this point, because you've been there.
Yeah.
What would you encourage someone who's feeling exactly the same right now about family embarrassment, about having zero confidence to actually stand up? What would you encourage them to do?
Personally, I think if I was to give myself advice at that moment in time, when I was going through that, I would probably say to kind of take some time away. Because when you take that time away and remove yourself from that situation, you get to actually think a bit more clearly.
Yeah.
And because he's not there to, like, you know, make you lose your focus on what exactly is that you're concentrating on, you're actually able to reflect on things and actually see that, you know what, no, I don't deserve this. And, and also having good friends around you as well, it does help. Like, even if it means you going to your friend's house for a weekend or a week away, that will open your eyes to a lot of things.
Yeah.
Because you'll see things so clearly, and of which for me, I didn't get to see that until like it was too late.
Yeah.
I went to my mom's house for like a weekend without him. And that's when everything just came to light. And that's when I started my healing process. So it's also about surrounding yourself with people. Like when you have that friend that, you know what, even they don't like the person that you're with, they stick with you. And they're always checking on you. That's your true friends right there. No matter how much you push them and you, like, make them feel like, you know what, you don't need them. They stay no matter what. Those are friends that those are like friends that you are for life. They will do anything for you. And listen to your friends.
Yeah.
That's one thing I like. Yes, they say, bros before hoes, sisters before niggas. It's true. Because your friends can tell. Your true friends can tell.
And they will openly say it.
And they will, exactly.
So who was saying that for you at that time?
To be honest with you, there was 2 of my friends that were saying this to me because they were like, not your type. Then why do you take the way that he talks to you? I don't like it. My friend was like, even stopped talking to me for a little bit because of the way that, like, because I defended him so much. We had an argument, but she still came back.
You see, so there's a reason why I was asking that way. Because some people still have difficulty taking that time out. They don't see themselves being away from this guy. So remember, there's something you said that you got to a point where you felt, you know what, I actually deserve to be treated this way. And so that thought of stepping away doesn't even occur.
Yeah.
And then if they do speak to their friends, it might be very similar to what you did with your friend, where you would defend him. And you ended up having an argument with your friend.
Yeah.
In fact, I think I know situations where somebody actually thought that they were jealous of their relationship. A friend was saying, this is not right. And they're like, no, it's because you're jealous.
Yeah. And a lot of the times that's what happens. That is what happens.
Did you ever at some point try and get external help? I know we spoke earlier on about getting in touch with the police when you had your second incident. And you said you didn't want that to happen because you were worried about social services, et cetera, et cetera. You had something going on. How easy is it really trying to get external help?
I think if we carry on with the story, then you kind of like...
Then I can gauge and tap into that. Okay.
Yeah. So I find out that he's obviously dating this woman and he's now leaving the house. And I confront him. Eventually, I find ways to confront him. And I was like...
Hold on. I'm thinking I'll stop this here and pick this up as the beginning of part 4.
Okay.
Because we've just got to a part where we've given people some help and some recommendations. And if somebody's really digesting what you just said about getting friends and family and also taking time away, continuing this might take away from that brave step that they're about to take. So as far as part 3 goes, this is it, guys.
Okay.
For those listening to this episode of The Feeling Station, please be sure to listen to part 4, which is going to be dropping next weekend. Peace.
Tell me what you're feeling.
Satis andaro raini and chagezai.
Tell me what you're feeling. Now that it's over.
Satis andaro raini and chagezai.
Let me talk about my feelings. Let me talk about my feelings, yeah.
Urudoi motor noto kujidziro amai.
Kujidziro amai. Love is a fire.
Urudoi motor noto kujidziro amai.